Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Scientology Outside of the Church podcast brought to you by ao-gp.org, the Advanced Org of the Great Plains, and the College of Independent Scientology.com, our online social media platform and online college course room for independent Scientology. This is season 11, episode 18. I'm here with Quentin Stroud, who is 6 hours away from me, and he's been kind enough to do a podcast after traveling all week. It's about 9 o'clock there, I think. Isn't it 6 hours? Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a little late for you, but we're going to knock one out here. And this one is called Overthinking versus Knowingness. How many people listening to this podcast overthink
hmm
versus know? That's what we're going to cover. So how do I want to get this started? What's a good jumping off point?
Well, I'll tell you why it kind of came through for me because oftentimes in what I do, there's often an opportunity to ask a person, well, what do you think about that? Or what do you think about this? And we kind of say it very easily, like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Or, whatever. Um, and it can kind of get a person kind of spinning in their own head. And oftentimes, it's been my experience that people will easily and quickly say, "Oh, I don't know," "Oh, I don't know," "Oh, I don't know," and it just rolls off the tongue, and for me, it's such a ugly thing to say. My grandma used to say,
Mhm.
"Don't be ugly." It's such an ugly thing to say because it's like you automatically kind of put yourself in this place of not knowing this and not knowing this, and it troubles me. I don't know, it's probably one of the biggest pet peeves that I have. And so I wanted to talk about this because what causes a person to overthink? And I think that the LRH has some good references that talk about this. So overthinking versus knowing this, like how do we remedy this?
Well, I think it's important to note that we have the know to mystery scale, better known as the tone scale, and that is a integral part of this to the degree that the definition of the word Scientology is knowing how to know. So that's a good way to find out how to know something is learn information, get information, uh, make it your own, and start using it so that you can know more and think less. And the more you know, the higher your tone level. The more, and what we've said this before in other podcasts, is that the tone scale is varying degrees of affinity, reality, communication, and understanding. And it's that simple because
Mhm.
these tone levels, these emotional tone levels, allow you, and you can mock them up, you can create them yourself, just like Ellerate says. You know, if you smile, you soon find something to smile about. So you can raise your tone
Mhm.
level just by that. And to the degree that you're smiling, to the degree that you feel happy, to the degree that your ethics are in. Sorry, I had to drop that E word in there for those going, oh, not that word. But it's true.
Mhm.
To the degree that and I had such a revelatory morning, um, working with people on conditions, ethics conditions this morning. I mean, mind blowing morning from about 7 o'clock to about 10:30 South African time. 11:30 something. No, actually it was 11:30. 7:30 to 11:30. All I did is deal with people and their conditions. And I didn't have any plans when I woke up to do that, but that's what happened. And to the degree, again, ethics, tech, and admin, to the degree that your ethics are in, is to the degree that your admin and your tech are in, more so tech and then admin. But if your ethics aren't in, you're out of valence. And if you're out of valence, you're being somebody else that doesn't know as much as you know.
Right.
I'm going to throw that in there and we can kind of jump off from there a little bit. Because if you're being somebody else as a solution to a problem, which is being out of valence, what you're doing is you can't beat them, join them. We've talked about this in a bunch of podcasts as well. And that's what a goals problem to mass is. And if you don't know who you are, what have you got? You're being somebody
Right.
else and you're not being yourself. So how could you know? And that brings us to, and I'm just going to put this here. This isn't a podcast about ethics. Don't worry, everybody. It's okay. It'll only be here for a second. So just bite on a wood stick or something. I'm sorry, I'm being sarcastic. Uh,
You're right.
if you look at the lower conditions and you look out enemy, right? Find out who you really are, which is the condition of enemy. Then what do you know? You know who you are. Find out who
Mhm.
you really are. So that's where you have to start out. Not that I'm saying that everybody's in a condition of enemy, but I'm saying that helps you realize who you really are. And if you don't know who you really are, how can you know anything because you have no stable data?
Yeah. And I'll say this that when you're dealing with Scientology, like you said before, it's knowing how to know. When you're dealing with Scientology, incumbent in the name as an independent Scientologist, you kind of go into life saying that I seek to know this, whatever this is, whatever is in front of you, whatever life throws at you, whatever you are or whoever you are, you go in seeking, like, I seek to know this. And I now have technology, spiritual technology, to know how to know, right? Using ARC triangle, using KRC triangle, using different mechanisms. And sorry if I'm throwing words out, but I want you to understand that there's technology that is available to know how to know as an independent Scientologist. And you go into life every day and every moment knowing that I can know the answer to that. I can understand that. And LRH talks about in his lecture for tolerance of unknowingness, he talks about how there has to be a that you have to increase one's tolerance for stupidity. And that's actually the center trick of Scientology, believe it or not. The center trick of Scientology is that you increase one's tolerance for stupidity, which is unknowingness. Just, I'm not calling anybody stupid. Stupidity is just not knowing, right? And you increase one's tolerance for unknowingness so that when it comes at you, and it will, when something comes at you and you don't, or you may feel like you don't know the answer for it, you can confront it. You can feel sure about that I can come to a knowingness of this. You can feel confident that I can understand what's here in front of me, even though right now I feel stupid about it or there's some stupidity in front of me. Right. And this doesn't just have to do with people. It doesn't just have to do with, a carburetor on your car or your car broke down or whatever. This is anything in life. Any masses, think about a rock, right? Think about a rock. It's just a lump of, it's a mass of stupidity, right? And
Mhm.
this stupid rock gets thrust at your head, okay? And as you, as a being, as an operating Thetan, as a one who operates in your beingness, as you who knows who you really are, you know who you really are. The rock doesn't scare you, right?
Mhm.
The bullet doesn't frighten you. The stupidity of the financial situation doesn't daunt you. I think I said it in the last podcast. No test should daunt you because you if you don't already have the answer, you know that you can know it. Scientology, knowing
Right.
how to know.
Right.
And so what I love about this is that you all of the thinkingness, overthinking that we get ourselves into at times, that actually is not the remedy, right? you sitting there overthinking about your problems, you sitting there overthinking about your situation, you sitting there overthinking about your health, you sitting there overthinking about whatever it is, it actually doesn't remedy it. But deciding, there's that word, deciding that I, I can know this and I can come to a knowingness about this and I can know how I want to handle this. That actually is the start of it.
Right. And that also comes to LRH's scale called the CDEI scale, which
Hmm.
starts out with, and it's typically like during when we're doing ARC breaks, it's curious, desired, enforced, inhibited, no, NO, and refuse. But the real whole scale outside of doing it in an ARC break rudiment is no, KNOW at the top, understand, curious, desired, enforced, inhibited, no, NO, and refuse. Curious and understand, and excuse me, know and understand, and then curious and desired. Isn't that interesting? So, where are you at
Hmm.
if you don't know something? You're curious about something, or desired below that,
Hmm.
or enforced, or inhibited, or no, or refused. So when you get to the hypnosis drill,
Mm.
which is an HCOB, a technical bulletin, and you get somebody to look at something, you say, okay, look at that guy over there. What do you see? Well, he looks angry. He's nervous. No, no, no. Okay. What do you see? Well, what do you mean? What do you see? How many people have I done that with?
Mhm.
Every one of them that's never done the drill before makes an assumption. We talked about this in one of the earlier podcasts. Assumptions and expectations. There's a difference between
Mhm.
know and assumption. A difference between know and assumption. So, what are
That's
you
right.
doing there? You have to look at something for what it is without bias or rumor, if you want to go as far as the the conditions, and look at it for what it is. Oh. What do you see? Well, he has a nose, he has two eyes, he has a receding hairline. His clothes are well pressed. He has a brand new pair of tennis shoes on. Um, he has some hair on his chest, and he it looks like he is standing there. Okay, good. Now, what's the difference
Mhm.
between that and what we're talking about here, as far as thinking this, overthinking this, and knowing this? You look at something as it is.
Well,
So
it's crazy
what
because
do you know?
even as you were going, yeah,
Go ahead.
exactly. Because even as you were going through that, how many times have we been in situations where somebody might misjudge a person's attitude or you talking to me like that? You talking to me? And they'll kind of go into this whole like you coming at me kind of vibe like no wait you misjudged. That's not what I was trying to do. That wasn't my intention or whatever the case may be, right?
Mhm.
And yet we observe in error, right? Or we'll hear something and we'll say something or we'll do something and it's observed out of error, and like that's not what I intended to get across. That wasn't what I intended to communicate in that moment. And so oftentimes if you're looking at a person, are you seeing that person? Are you seeing what's there in front of you? Or are you seeing what you're assuming is that person's character or that person's personality or that person's issue or that person's whatever, right? It makes a difference. It really
Right.
does. It makes
Right.
a difference. I was talking to a brother. Oh, go ahead.
No, well, I just wanted to put in there that overthinkingness and perception are two different things. what are you perceiving
Hmm.
if you're overthinking? You're not. You're comparing
You
it to
know,
something else in the past instead of looking at it in the present. Because thinking takes a comparable. You have to compare this to that. This is granite, this is sandstone, this is that. And so then you start to get into biases when you add the reactive mind, and then now you overthink because you're not perceiving in present time. You're not being there and being comfortable, which comes back to your TR drills in the communication course all the way up to pro TRs. You're not being there and being comfortable. Therefore, you are not perceiving. Now you're thinking, you're comparing one thing to another, and oh, you got stimulated, you got triggered. Oh, okay. Okay. He looks angry. That's overthinking. Whereas
yeah,
observing the obvious, or what LRH calls hypnosis, uh, forces you to look at it for what it is in this time, in this moment, in this place. So you're not thinking, you're knowing. I know he has a nose. I know he has well pressed clothes. He has brand new tennis shoes. They are
you
clearly
know,
white. But still, even then, are those brand new tennis shoes? Do you know that? You don't.
that's true.
You don't. So you have to look at it for what it is, not what you think it is. And that comes down to being honest with yourself as well. So if you're overthinking something and you look at the CDEI scale, where are you at if you're overthinking? Are you at no, understand, curious, desired? That's not bad. It's in the middle. But then you get into enforced, no, and refused. So knowing is at the
Uh-huh.
top, but curious isn't too bad. So the difference, are you overthinking if you're curious?
No. You know, no, that it would be lower because you would and people have made this mistake, Jonathan. This is really real. People have made the mistake in overthinking, and then you say, "Well, why did you think about it like that? Why did you just kind of stay on that?" And they be like, "Oh, I was just curious. I was just curious. I was just curious." No, you weren't curious. It was something else. It was lower than that because if you were just curious, you would have a curiosity about it and you would seek to figure it out, or you would dive deeper into it, or you would go read a book, or you would go, look more
Mhm.
into it. But if you just sat there in overthinkingness, if you just sat there and try to figure, right?
Mhm.
That's not curiosity. That's like actually it's like no, like not knowing,
Right.
no,
Exactly.
it's and and could be, I'll say this, and could even be inhibited,
Mhm.
right?
That's right.
Like I don't want to know the answer to that question. I don't want to know if he's cheating. I don't want to know if this is going. I don't want to know.
Right. Right. And the opposite of no on the CDEI scale, starting at KNOW at the top, at the bottom is refused. I know
Yep.
all about this, and I've already thought this, and it's a done deal, done and dusted, over.
I refuse to take any more looks at it,
I
right?
refuse
And,
to take
and
any
how,
looks at it.
and this happens with finances. How many people, and I'm just throwing stuff out there to see what sticks, right? But how many people, even when it comes to finances, won't look at their bills? Or won't look at their accounts or won't look at their credit reports or won't look at whatever. How many people won't look at something because they can't confront it? Right? So it's not a curiosity or it's not even desire. Oh, I desire for my finances to be better. But did you look? I desire for my situation to be better, but are you taking a look? Are you
Right.
are you using your stats? When you talked about ethics earlier, are you looking at statistics when it comes to your situation? Are you looking at statistics when it comes to your business, your finance? Are you looking at statistics when it comes to your relationship? What are you looking at?
That's right. That's right. And when a person is knowing, they are perceiving as is. And we talked about this axiom 11 in Scientology axioms. We use it a lot. Your as isness, your not isness, your isness, and your alter isness. So where in that scale, which is part of the CDEI scale, is more expanded than axiom 11 is. Where is curious and desired as an isness? Is it alter
So wait,
isness?
ask that question again.
Where is curious and desired as a form of the isnesses, axiom 11?
Oh, I see. I got you. Okay, I understand now. So where is curious and desired
Uh-huh.
is that is a not isness.
Right.
No, curious and
Right.
desire is not isness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not isness because you don't have the information. No,
Yeah.
well, they're all forms of isness, but as isness is no.
It's full truth. Right.
Yeah,
I know
K-N-O-W.
what it is. I know the truth and boom, I'm good.
Right, right. So if you,
You shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free.
that's right. So if you're overthinking something, where are you at on the CDI scale? If you're overthinking, you're not at no, you're at a not isness or an alter isness at best. At best. You're not
Yeah.
at an
Yeah.
as isness because an as isness is a complete no, is a complete duplicate put on top of itself, which is further down in the axioms, I think, between 17 and
Yeah,
11.
you're right. Right,
So,
you're right. Curious and desire will be at alter isness because curious and desired, something's altered, something's not true, something's a lie, something's somewhere, and I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to get to the bottom of things. I'm curious and I'm desiring knowing this. I'm desiring getting to the bottom of this. I'm
mhm,
doing my research. I'm diving deep. I'm trying to figure this situation out with my
mhm.
finances or with my
Think,
life or
think,
with
think,
my
think,
health or
think.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know that there's a lie somewhere, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. That's desire. That's curious. That's higher up. But when you get to know, when you get to enforced, know, which is no, or inhibited, you're in not isness.
Big time. Yeah, it gets more and more solid because
Yeah.
you're looking at the CDEI scale as a very abbreviated tone scale because 40.0 on the tone scale is serenity of beingness, and that's why it's called the no, K-N-O-W, to mystery scale at the bottom. So refused would be mystery at the bottom right
Yes.
hand side of the tone scale. K-N-O-W, serenity of beingness, is 40.0 because
Mhm.
you know. And so you don't have to think, you just know. That's it.
Right.
So anything in between, and the further down you go, the more solid you get. If you look at the tone scale and you look at the little faces on there and everything like that, they get more and more solid as you go down until you get down to refused and hiding at the bottom of the tone scale, to where you know nothing because you're hiding.
Yeah.
Your fruits of observation are completely cut off. So the way you handle this is you get more information on how to know. And
Mhm.
that comes through either auditing or it comes through training and auditing. Training's great. 50% of the gains are in training, 50% of the gains are in auditing. So if you're overthinking something, you may have bias, and that bias is created by false data, which we've talked about in I don't know how many podcasts of false.
Mhm.
If you're operating off of false data, like we said with the hypnosis drill, what do you see? Okay, are you looking at it for what it is, or are you looking at it with bias? And well, you have something else that's pushing you in the direction of, well, he looks angry, like we said earlier. Okay, that's not what you want to do. So you've got a problem. And then I'm going to say this, and you're going to go, exactly. Complexity and confronting. Complexity and confronting. What is it that's complex?
Yeah.
This is a policy letter, and we've mentioned this in podcasts before, but it deserves repeating. Complexity and confronting. Okay, what's so complex about this situation? Um, Looking at the statistics of my finances. Okay, so what about that are you not confronting?
Mhm.
And that it's as simple as that. Where is that on the CDI scale? Where is that on the tone scale, the no to mystery scale? At the bottom, you don't want to look at it. You're in hiding. Now, okay, so if you look at it and you confront it and you look at it and say it's complex, what am I not confronting about it? Okay. Okay. Now there is a solution. This is what I'm not confronting about it. What did LRH have to say about this thing that I'm not confronting? You go to our AI on the website, Finn, in the bottom right hand corner of a-gp.org, or you go to College of Independent Scientology if you're a registered member and use it there. Either way is fine. Go there and ask Finn, uh, what can you tell me about creating statistics for my finances? And Finn will give you the answer as an example. Or you could, and Finn's based off of all of the LRH organization executive course volumes and the technical volumes, not the lectures. There's too many of them. We couldn't fit them on there. But most of that stuff is written anyway in either the technical or the administrative volumes. This is how you can find this thing out. So you can go from curious to know. Curious, understand, know. And then you can look at something and go, ah, there we go. Because as LR8 says in the data series, the correct why opens the door to a handling. It doesn't say anything about thinkingness. You know where it is,
Yes.
you know how to solve it. And that's the beauty of independent Scientology is you have the tools, but maybe you're not aware of them. But
Right.
you have to get some tools in order to get out of overthinking or thinking at all, because perception awareness is immediate. Thinkingness is reactive and timelessness, because you're
Oh
having
my
to go back
gosh.
in time. You're
And
not in
oh my
present time.
gosh. And you're having to pull in goals, problems, and masses. You're having to pull it all in. Like you literally are sitting there creating this stuff
Mocking it up. Yeah.
in your mind. I
Mm-hmm.
want you guys to really think about what we're saying here because this is important. When you go into this overthinkingness, you're sitting there creating stuff in your mind that should be or could be or might be or possibly, all the leads. You're creating that in your mind and making it a part of that thinkingness, which then keeps you from knowing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so you continue to go down scale. It continues to get heavier and heavier and heavier. You continue to feel worse and worse and worse the more you stay in this overthinking this because you're pulling in or you're mocking up, should I say, these masses, these goals, these problems. You're putting it all in there and you're saying, now I got to think through all of that in order to become a knowingness, in order for me to know. And what Jonathan said earlier is that you've had the power all along, Dorothy. Like that as a spiritual being, you know that your innate ability, your innate truth is truth. Period.
Mm-hmm. Now it's
You
important to,
are you are truth. Go ahead.
right. And it's important to note, if you look up the definition of dubbing in the technical dictionary, and I'm going to do that right now because I've got it right next to me. And I'll read
Mhm.
the definition here. Got to get to the D's. DU. Let's see here. Dubbing. Here we go.
Mhm.
Dubbing, definition number one: any unknowingly created mental picture that appears to have been a record of the physical universe, but is in fact only an altered copy of the time track. That's definition one. Two, the phrase out of the motion picture industry of putting a sound track on top of something that isn't there. Three, a recording which is being manufactured by a recording. And four, imaginary recall. There is no pain, which is dubbing. So if you don't have information, you don't have information because you didn't hear from somebody. Oh, they must be ignoring me. That's dubbing. That's dubbing.
Right.
So right there, that is exactly what you just detailed. And that is
Mhm.
something you have to be aware of. If you are at dubbing, where are you at on the CDEI scale? NO, no.
No. Yeah.
Right above refused at the bottom of the scale. So that's almost the worst that you could be, other than refused. I'm not going to talk to them because they're ignoring me. You go right into that, and then they call you back and say, my phone died, or I was in an area, and if they're telling the
I was at the
truth,
gym or
I
whatever.
was
Yeah.
right, right. But see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Beingness and knowingness, again, ding, ding, ding. Beingness and
Hmm.
knowingness are the same thing, because at the top of the note of mystery scale is serenity of
Of beingness.
beingness, which is total knowingness, total ARC. Why are you dubbing in?
Mm, so good. So good.
It
I
is
mean,
so
just think
simple.
and think about the peace, serenity.
Right. It's
That's
serenity.
the word.
Right.
Think about the serenity that comes along with knowingness.
Right. I mean, that's
That
that.
comes along with knowingness.
Yeah.
As independent scientologists, I would say this, as independent Scientologists, that's exactly what we seek to experience. That peace that surpasses all understanding. That peace that innate, inherent in knowingness,
Hmm.
because it is truth.
Right. And
So good.
the difference between curious and know is, per the axiom, time is a lie. It is only a perception, a false perception. For anything to persist, it contains time. So that's the difference between it and knowingness. Knowingness, there is no time, space, distance. You just know. We've all had it. We've all been there, where you just know something. You're like, it's so inexplicable. It's
Mhm.
so inexplicable. And how do you get there? How do you make that
How did you
stable?
know
Do
that?
we have
How
that
did you
all
know
the time?
that?
Right. And that is what happens with auditing as you unburden the case. Okay, and you get more
Mhm.
auditing, you get these lies off the line that are giving you timelessness in the reactive mind. That now that is gone and is as is, and is no longer there, it's not persisting, it's no longer a not is, it's no longer an alter is. In
Mhm.
so getting that auditing, now you have the ability to just perceive and not dub in based off of past experiences, past goals, problems, masses, all of that stuff, and restimulate it and re-trigger it, re-restimulate yourself again. And it's important to note, part of the axioms is a Thetan chooses to restimulate themselves, per LRH.
Mhm.
And that is where not know comes from. If you're not restimulating yourself and you are just being there and knowing and perceiving, you no longer have to think. You just know. And it is as serene as can be. It's a placid lake in the mountains that reflects the sky. No wind, no ripples. It just is. That's all there is to it. That's what auditing gives you.
Right. And, and the beautiful thing about auditing the beautiful thing about auditing is LRH talks about how when you have problems, right, and these problems have come up in your lifetime and your on your whole track kind of thing. And if he says it here, he says, very fascinating because this is the mechanism of dramatization. An individual has this problem on on the backtrack. Now, to get rid of that problem in that situation, he gets into a similar situation in order to get rid of that situation. He'll have two terminals. And these two terminals, then, in some way or another, could communicate with each other and he'd blow it. Well, maybe this worked once. Maybe it worked for millions or trillions of years for Thetan, but it hasn't worked now for millions or trillions of years. And so we, in present time, in present life, we have these problems that have existed on our whole track. And we'll get ourselves in your current life. You'll get yourself into these problems, and you like, how did I get here? How did I get strung out on drugs? How did I get put into this situation? How did I get into this bad relationship? How did I get into this life that I'm living? How did I get here? And you'll put yourself into similar situations to resolve that problem back when, to think that if they got to communicate with each other, if those two problems were boom, 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 it'll boom, and it'll be good. I figured
Mm-hmm.
it out.
Mm-hmm.
But that hadn't worked for millions of trillions of years. And it's an automatic mechanism that you put yourself in over and over and over again. And this is why, get this is why sitting in the chair, being on the cans, having a skilled auditor help you, move you, walk you through these incidents, through these moments, through your life, through your track, and these things resolve. Hear me. I'm telling you what I know. These things resolve. These problems go away. Okay?
Yeah.
And you don't have to put yourself back into these situations anymore. You don't have to feel this way anymore. You don't have to be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a good thing. So this is why we have this, and this is why we don't want you to sit here overthinking. We want you to come to a place of knowingness, and we have the means and the ways to help you do it.
And that's very true. I wanted to share while we're on here. Uh, this is a success story from grade one. You were just talking about uh, people's problems, and in order to play a game per the Scientology actions, in order to play a game, you have to agree to become aberrated. And the only way you can agree to become aberrated is if you've ever played checkers with yourself. You already knew what it is that you're going to do and what moves you'll make when you're playing both sides of the checkerboard. So there's no game. But as soon as you don't know everything about a situation or a game that you're playing and you have a counter terminal to play with in a game, now you drop down the CDI scale from no to then understand to curious and desired. So, one of our students, and also PC, I finished on grade one this week. This was her story about problems, her success story. She completed grade one, which has to do with problems and helps. She said, "This was an amazing and life changing grade. I don't have any problems anymore. And if something comes up and seems to be a problem, it vanishes. I've been wandering around for a while and noticing that as much as I try to get a problem like I had before, it is not there now. The old perceived problem might still seem to be there. For example, a bill comes in and we don't have the money to pay for it yet, but it just does not have an effect on me or stress me in the same way. It is there, but it is not a problem anymore. It will be okay and it will be fixed somehow. This is a feeling and not a thought. This is not a dangerous way either. I am not in denial and ignore things. I handle things quickly and more efficiently now. I have good confront. Help as well. I don't have any issues around that people need to help me as I help them or they should help me, etc. Or hold on to resentment that they don't. Even if something happens that would negate my old way of feeling like they could have helped. There's nothing around it. I have other great wins along the way too. I went for 4 interviews in the last couple of months and I got a job offer for all of them. Some people who think they know me were having their mouths open when I was telling them or giving me comments like, "You are a dark horse, lol." Right now, I am so happy, elevated, dancing around the kitchen, feeling free. There's also a nice void slash peace feeling, which can be filled with more inspiring things, postulates, and such. Thank you so much to my amazing auditors, Jamie and Jonathan. MS. This
Amazing.
this is a no about problems and help. Do you see the difference to our listeners? That viewpoint? It isn't maybe, it is I know how to do this. I'm not thinking about it. I know
Yeah.
everything will work out the way I want it to.
Mm-hmm.
That is being cause, theta the solver, not theta the problem. This is what we're talking about. So you don't have to overthink, you just have to know. And the best way to get to know, get some auditing, get some training, patch yourself up on things, either through one of those two avenues on the grade chart. And you won't overthink. You'll be able to know because you don't have these masses in place anymore, and you're just perceiving instead of sensing through the body or through the reactive mind, goals, problems, mass, et cetera, et cetera. It's that simple. You have the tools. We have the tools. We'll present them to you. It's that simple. So this leaves us where?
Yes. Well, I just think that was I think that's perfect. I think that those people who get it. And I know we use some technical terminology and we kind of went through some things, but this is why we want you to jump into the college because this conversation can continue. If you've been suffering from overthinking, if you've been suffering from worry, which is a type of overthinking, if you've been suffering from anxiety, which is a severe form of overthinking, if you've been suffering from some of these things, then there's ways of having this conversation to help you get to a place of knowingness about what it is you're dealing with. And that's how we do this. That's just the way it is for us,
Mhm.
right? So get into the college, College of Independent Scientology.com. And you can also go onto the website ao-gp.org and you can start a conversation in the bottom right corner with the communicator at the bottom right corner. All of these things are ways of starting this conversation. And if this is something that you know could work for you, then get in session. Get in session and get things moving so you can move closer and closer towards true knowingness.
That's right. So for all of our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this. It's been illuminating, enlightening. Uh, we know this stuff works. The technology works. All you have to do is avail yourself of it. We'll see you soon for another podcast, episode 19, in the next day or two with Quentin and I, and probably Arthur. Namaste, and we love you. Bye bye.